The fallout hit before the tea cooled. Headlines flared. Phones buzzed. Not because Harry met the king, but because William, the heir, allegedly learned about it late. In this palace, who's informed and who's ignored isn't a detail. It's the plot. And this time, the plot cut deep. Rewind to the moment it started. A dark car slipped through Clarence House. No press pen, no flashbulbs, no briefing. Prince Harry stepped out, went in, door shut. Father and son, 55 minutes, not a luncheon. Not an overnight, a carefully measured slice of time. Reports claim there was one firm condition from Charles. Absolutely no cameras, no Netflix crew, not even a discreet phone clip. Family, not footage. Full stop. When you have to say that out loud to your own child, you can hear what's cracked. Harry kept it light as he left. Yes, he's great, and moved on. But inside those walls, the choice to make it private told a louder story. Charles authorized the meeting. He also contained it. Tight, tidy, timed. A test balloon, small enough to pop without wreckage if it went wrong. Here's the sting. Sources say William never would have approved. He's carried the brand while the fireworks went off overseas, and he's not quick to forgive the sparks. When he discovered the meeting was already scheduled, resentment reportedly reignited. Not a new fire, an old one, fanned. And some watchers think that's why Charles didn't loop him in. Ask permission. Get a no. Don't ask, get a problem later. Either way, the trust ledger took a hit. Camilla, quietly present in the background, is said to have backed Charles's instinct to try. She understands the poison in the air, but she also sees what time does to fathers. Still, even she couldn't miss the collateral damage. Freeze the air out, and you don't just bruise feelings, you shake the chain of command. One aide put it bluntly, according to palace chatter. Reconciliation with one son shouldn't require sidelining the other. And Meghan? Absent. Which, depending on who you ask, was either strategy or consequence. Rumors suggest the decision kept the temperature lower. It also sent a message. Harry came alone. No joint optics. No Sussex brand moment. Just a son at a gate. Afterward, Harry reappeared in familiar territory. An Invictus-aligned reception. Smiling, shaking hands, talking purpose. He arrived late, and explanations split. Traffic, some said. Others whispered the obvious. First conversations after long silences carry weight. You can walk out of a room, but that room walks with you for a while. He smiled anyway. He's practiced at that. What didn't appear was just as notable as what did. No post, no crafted statement, no montage. For a man who's told his side on TV and in print, remember, Spare hit shelves in January 2023, this restraint felt like a new lane. Controlled, careful, fewer adjectives, more silence. A pivot that looked less like branding and more like an audition for trust. Even so, the rumor mill did what it does. Reports claim Harry went in hopeful, if not with a literal list, then with a mental one. Some form of homecoming that didn't erase the past, but gave the future a shape. Clearer contact, a path for the children, perhaps even a roof in Windsor when he's on British soil. What came back, according to those same whispers, was boundaries. No return to royal duties, no titles for the kids, no public mea culpa to rewrite the narrative. Affection, yes. Accommodation, no. The institution stayed put, and the rules held everywhere. Even the visit to the late Queen's resting place, permitted, private, unfilmed. It's hard not to see the subtext. Queen Elizabeth II died on September 8, 2022. The family has guarded certain moments since with near-religious care. Charles's own coronation on May 6, 2023, underscored the point the Crown keeps repeating. Duty over drama. If that's the mantra, then a phone lens is the new red line. The softer piece in the background is the one that tugs hardest. Insiders say Charles misses the grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet, more than he lets on. It's been years since ordinary time with them. He reportedly cherished the brief flashes around the Platinum Jubilee in June 2022, and that memory lingers. Could a next step include the children? Some think the king hopes so. But hope isn't a plan, and logistics aren't simple. Because here's the friction. Trust. People close to Meghan, according to press chatter, describe a fortress mindset. She protects the kids first, always, and the calculus is unforgiving. Send them to London without her? Unlikely. Bring them with cameras? Unwelcome. Show up without cameras? Also complicated. That's not malicious. It's modern. Every moment can be content, and content is power. Meanwhile, the king's position is the opposite. Intimacy or nothing. Those two rules don't meet easily. So what was the meeting, really? A pilot episode without a trailer. A tiny move to see if the pieces still fit. If it works, doors open. If it fails, they can say they tried and shut them again, softly. The palace is treating it like an experiment with clear variables. Private, brief, no leaks. Pass that test, maybe earn another. William, though, he wasn't in the lab. He was reading headlines. Sources say he felt blindsided. Not because he wants to supervise every call, but because secrecy implies volatility. He believed his father was in London for medical appointments and audiences. Finding out that Harry was in the building without warning hit harder than he let on. It suggested Charles didn't trust him to be unmoved by the news. And that implication, for a man trained to keep his temperature steady, is an insult in itself. From William's vantage, the principle is simple. You don't scorch the family and then demand the thermostat. The Oprah sit-down, the Netflix series, the memoir. Each one, in his view, took bricks from the same wall. Forgiveness isn't impossible, but it's not a speed run, and it doesn't arrive with a camera team. So when his father offered even a modest opening, it felt, again to him, like a soft spot exposed. That wider audience, the one outside the gates, did what it always does. Body language threads, frame-by-frame analysis. Who leaned? Who hesitated? Who looked down first? But archived gestures don't fix a present tense. The only thing that matters is what happens in the next room, not the freeze frames from the last one. Then came a familiar voice from the sidelines. Grant Harold, a former royal butler, has a forthcoming book and has spoken in interviews about trust draining away. Specifically, the king's fear that private words could resurface as public content. He describes a time when Charles and Harry were thick as thieves, jokes, toasts, even two wheels on country roads. And then the slow pivot as priorities changed. That narrative may sell books. It also maps onto what we're seeing now. Not a feud for cameras, but a recoil from them. Zoom out, and the board comes into focus. Charles wants peace, but not at the expense of the job. Harry wants connection, but not without acknowledgement. William wants stability, and secrecy isn't stable. Meghan wants safety for her family, and safety doesn't happen by accident. In the middle sits a monarchy that must look unruffled even when it inhales. Which brings us back to that 55-minute window. It wasn't nothing. It wasn't everything. It was a narrow bridge between two cliffs no one's ready to jump. If the bridge holds, expect a second crossing. Longer, maybe with a gentle statement attached. If it cracks, the silence will return. And this visit will be filed under attempted. There's one more truth worth saying out loud. Boundaries, once set, tend to harden. After Spare and the interviews, the Crown drew lines. No covert filming, no transactional grief, no re-entry by spectacle. Those lines haven't shifted. If anything, they're brighter. Harry understands that now. His quiet exit said so. And William? He's watching what happens next as carefully as any editor. Not for gossip, he doesn't need it, but for signals. Will his father loop him in the next time? Will there be a next time? If the answer to either is no, then the cost of this meeting was higher than its promise. For all the noise, two facts remain steady. The Invictus Games, Harry's signature project, launched in 2014 and has given wounded service members a world stage. And the crown, dating back centuries, survives not on sentiment, but on structure. Those are anchors in a churning story. So we end where we began, with consequence. A meeting that soothed one fracture reopened another. A door that inched open left a window rattling. The king chose to test the water. The air felt the chill. And the spare, still the spare, walked out with a smile that didn't quite reach the eyes. What follows is simple and brutal. Either everyone accepts smaller steps with stricter rules, or there are no steps at all. Reports claim another private contact isn't off the table. But the condition, again, will be the same. No audience, but the people in the room. If that's the price of trust, someone has to pay it. The question is who, and for how long.